No, not at all.
Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is hopefully Aguna, the voice of reason, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. I don't know. Maybe he comes up, maybe he doesn't. We've got a packed show for you tonight. Oh my gosh, this week, the Philadelphia Eagles, as Super Bowl champions, visit the White House, and guess who goes and guess who doesn't and who's missing, and we'll talk about that. President Donald Trump traveled to Michigan today to mark his 100th day in office. Stephen, with NASCAR, as Democrats on the House and Senate Appropriations Committee say that Trump and top administration officials are improperly holding up more than $430 billion with a B in federal funding already approved by Congress and signed into law. And this money is supposed to go for medical research, COPS grants, disaster relief, aid to farmers, we need food, Head Start, school lunches, major infrastructure projects, and that is according to Representative Rosa DeLauro of Connecticut. The NFL draft, we'll talk about who your team got and who they didn't. House Republicans have a new deadline for their bill enacting domestic legislation by President Trump, and the deadline is the 4th of July. A Wisconsin judge is arrested, and Trump wants to bypass immigration courts as he deports sick children and their family. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen with NASCAR. Stephen, what's going on with NASCAR?
Right now, it's a mess. It's a real mess. We had Talladega, which is one of the best races, always has been. Now, everybody was just hanging back, saving tires. Remember last week I told you that the short tracks were just done. NASCAR, they can't get the car right for short tracks. It's not good racing. At least we have Talladega coming. It's going to be a great race. It was absolutely horrible. The whole race was terrible. There's no real action. Like I said, everybody was laying back. Everybody's holding back. And Austin Cindric won, and nobody really cared. But the Xfinity the night before, the younger guys with the old cars system is what the younger guys use. And every now and then a guy from NASCAR would jump down and race with them. So these races are great. It's the same car, it's the same system, it's the same stuff that they used to have, and that makes it such a good race. And it was great action the whole time. It was excitement the whole time that you didn't have in the day after, but that's what you really want the day after. Talladega is supposed to be one of the best tracks ever. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. So that really hurts. So I'm starting to dig into Xfinity a little bit. So I'm going to do both. From now on, I'm going to do both races. And because that's a lot more intriguing what they have with the young guys coming up, what they have. This poor guy, it's so competitive. He has no money at all. And he was this close to winning. And they called it for the.
Talking about a poor guy has no money at all. He's this close to winning.
The Xfinity race, that happens the day before it was a Talladega race that happens before the big guys do Talladega, the NASCAR, but it's the young guys that are in different cars that are part of NASCAR. Well, their race has been a lot more excitement because they're using the old style cars. But a lot of these guys don't have any money. They're racing week to week sometimes. And the guy really looked like he won the race. He said, "Show it from another angle." And he was arguing with the person who was interviewing. He said, "Show it from another." And he's like 18 years old. He started crying because he's like, "It's so hard to stay in here. It's so hard to make a name. You have to win a race." That's what's interesting about racing, that these guys are fighting so hard. If you want, then the next day you're watching drivers that are just doing nothing. They're hanging back. They're drinking a Coke all day long, and they're just waiting for the end of the race. And then they're going to start racing with 20 laps left. And that's not conducive to good racing. That's bad racing. That's boring. I've taped it and I've had a hard time watching it. So, and because I watched a lot of it, and I could see what was happening. I was like, I'm not going to spend my day doing this. I got to do something else. But I taped it and it still have hard. But they're going to what is called a cookie cutter race, 1.5 mile Texas race, and this is where the cars were designed for. There's more of these 1.5 mile races. It's an intermediate track. And it's not a small track. It's not a huge track. It's intermediate. And that's where these cars are competitive. And that's going to have to save them for right now. And they're going to have to figure out what they're doing, because they're losing not only old fans they've had, old drivers now in this past week. I don't know if you've seen what I've sent you with Richard Petty, Stacy. He's even Richard Petty's complaining about the racing now. And he has drivers out there. So there's going to be something that's going to be done. Something has to be done, or they're not going to be able to bring in young people that's going to be excited about this, because if you don't have what's naturally exciting about racing, what is so exciting about you got wrecks, you got hard racing, you have everything going for it. If they can't have that at every track, it's not going to be good for NASCAR. So they're going to make a lot of adjustments, and fingers crossed it gets back to good. And this week should be a good race at Texas. Take Larson.
Okay, where's it going? You're always talking about betting. So when you said take Larson, you mean bet on Larson?
Bet on Larson to get at least the top 3. Or if you do a match bet, you can take him against another driver that they give you. Always take him over somebody else, and you're going to win about 90% of the time. That's what I recommend. Yeah.
All right. So thank you. Anybody have anything else to add on NASCAR? All right, let's move on to the NFL draft.
Keith, what do you have to add to that? You don't watch NASCAR, even though your boyfriend begs you to watch it weekly?
I beg him every week.
I like. I'm amazed at the level of skill these guys can drive, man. I tell you, Stephen.
So why don't you watch it? So why don't you watch it?
I'm just not interested. But their level of skill is extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They can drive that fast.
Michael Jordan is a huge NASCAR fan. He loves it, and he bets on it as well. He bets a lot on NASCAR, and he can change the everything
Steven
about it.
Is changing the topic. I can tell there's trouble in paradise.
Todd, you change the topic when you start asking Keith, who you know and I know wants nothing to do with NASCAR. You know that. That's why.
No, but he wants something to do with Steven. So usually, well, never mind.
Steven is my friend, okay, everybody?
Yeah, we are friends. We are friends without benefits.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What does that mean?
Steven's my friend.
We don't fit in the box of your fantasies, fantasy box.
Don't you have a friend, sir?
I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, he's got friends with benefits,
I guess.
So he doesn't friend. So let's move on. I want to play the screen with you. I want to talk about the NFL draft. I'm kind of also waiting for Guna to come on, but we can start with, let me present this screen.
Nas will be on probably.
And
investigation into the prank calls made to NFL prospects in this year's draft. It turns out it wasn't just Shedeur Sanders. The list of victims is growing. ABC's Lara Spencer has more.
Wow.
This morning, the NFL investigating a series of prank calls made to college football stars waiting to hear their names called in the NFL draft.
The Cleveland Browns select Mason Graham.
Alan Graham, the father of Michigan player Mason Graham, who was drafted in the first round by the Cleveland Browns, says his son was also the victim of a prank call. He told the Detroit Free Press that someone made a TikTok while crank calling Mason, showing his number on the video. His phone was getting called nonstop. It's the same thing that happened to Colorado QB Shedeur Sanders, who had to wait until the 5th round of the draft. He received this prank call during the second round from a college student pretending to be the GM of the New Orleans Saints.
I'll take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
How do they get their number?
But you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
The Atlanta Falcons later posting an apology to the
They'll
Sanders
tell
family,
you how.
announcing that the person behind the prank was 21-year-old Jax Ulbrich, the son of Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich.
Oh, you're
This is
kidding.
Ron Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
The team adding that Jax, seen here with a friend making the call, obtained Shedeur Sanders' number off of an open iPad while visiting his parents' home. Jax later posting a message to Shedeur on his Instagram, writing, "I am so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish."
The NFL could have thought more about disseminating a popular player's number, but the truth is somehow everybody needs a way to reach that player on draft day. Oftentimes it can be through an agent. In this particular case, his number was widely distributed. It got into the hands of people that it didn't belong with, and it wound up with one of the more unfortunate incidents that we've seen in recent draft memory.
The NFL also investigating a third prank call from this year's draft, made to Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. Warren was picked 14th overall by the Indianapolis Colts, but he received a fake call that he was being drafted by the New York Jets, who were picking 7th in the draft. Last year, Iowa's Cooper DeJean received this prank call during the first round.
It's a prank. It's a prank.
He was later drafted in the second round by the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is about young college men on the brink of realizing their NFL dreams, getting calls from other college students, mocking them and joking around with them at a time when there's nothing funny about it.
That was ABC's Laura Spencer reporting. The NFL says it is actively investigating the prank calls and looking for ways to make sure it doesn't happen again in the future. It's going to be tough because.
All right, we don't need his commentary. We have our own. So it is tough. So Stephen, it's going to be tough trying to make sure that the college football players and probably the college basketball players don't get pranked like that. I don't even know how they do that. I think they're probably going to have burner phones maybe. And that's probably the best bet, to have a burner phone and then to have it so that the people call the burner phone so that, hey, they know that it's a real, or if it's not a real car, it doesn't matter. The phone is going to be thrown away. What do you think?
Also, who was laughing? What was funny about that?
I don't think the burner phone is going to help because everybody's going to have that number of the burner phone so somebody can get the number.
Right. But at least they don't have to change their phone numbers afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it would help in this instant. It's something I've never heard of. I've been a sports fan forever. I've never heard of anything like this.
Okay,
it cracks me up because it's something you would see in a movie. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's I'm deliriously laughing at it because I don't understand how anybody could do that. And when they did it, I thought it was just a joke, or it was just, I don't know. I didn't know anything was. It doesn't make any sense. That is as cruel as you can get. It's mean, but it's just
what
college
should happen
kids.
to the person that did that?
Well, their life is what it is anyway. They're not going to be making millions of dollars playing. This is what they can do to get in the spotlight. That's all it is. And what a lot of people want to do is just get in the spotlight.
15
That's what they want to do.
Well, I want you to talk a little bit, Stephen, about who your team, the Washington Commanders, drafted.
Well, how about the Deion Sanders' son, who didn't go until the 5th round? Well, he was supposed to be a top 10. Oh, I got you. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, our hugest problem that we have on our team in Washington is the defense. We need anything defense. We have 1 first-round pick. Then we have one second-round pick. That's all we have. So we have to concentrate on defense because that's what ate us up last year. If we could take somebody for the line, a rush, somebody to rush the quarterback, we could take somebody in the backfield. We could take anybody. But our first pick was an offensive lineman. And I love offensive linemen. And if you can get the best one on the board and it's better than anybody on defense. I guess that's what they did. It makes sense. But all I'm thinking is the whole time they're building up, we're going defensive player. But we got an offensive player. Then their next player, we got a defensive player, I think a corner or safety. And that's fine. That's good. I mean, these are the players we can use. And we're at a top. I'd put Washington at about top 6 overall, top 6 or 7. And that's great. We have a team right now that can compete with anybody.
You're babbling. Okay, let's get back to what should happen to the person that did these pranks.
I don't think anything should happen to them. And what I think is nothing like legally anything, but I think the people that were affected by these people can find out who these people were and go have a sit down with them. That's what they can do. That's how it needs to be handled. It needs to be handled man to man. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. Reverend Dr. Pastor, what is your take on...
That's Laguna. Yeah.
What is your take on the draft? We're not talking about Shador yet. I was waiting for Aguna to talk about Shador. But Reverend Doctor, how did the Falcons, the Dirty Birds of the South, do in the draft?
We don't have to wait for Aguna to talk about Shador.
You know, I'm offended.
Stop being a hater, Todd. Stop being a hater.
But anyway, the Falcons, they were concerned with pass rush, so that's what they did. They drafted one early at 15, then traded up to get another one at 26. So we'll see if that helps, if the defense finally improves. But hold on the prank thing, though. Y'all got to think about this in different terms. The NFL is going to lock down this whole process next year. Maybe you get a sponsor, a cell phone company, to make sure all the numbers are kind of, just blacklisted numbers. Nobody but people within the organization have them. And I'm just trying to think to myself, like, just think about if you got a good ass job, AKA a job in the NFL as a coach, and your son does something like this to put that job in jeopardy. I'm trying to think of what he wants to do to that boy, man, because, like, dog, do you understand what kind of jokes you playing for a tenuous job that he can lose just like that? And you playing with going into his iPad and getting people's personal information? Like, bro, that man will not be trusted in the same way ever again because of the actions of his son. So, yeah, I hope he beat that boy.
I doubt that.
That's what I hope happens. But, yeah, I don't think there'll be any legal recourse, but the NFL is going to lock this process down. We won't see this next year.
Okay, so Aguna is here. Yeah. Aguna, you want to talk about who the Eagles got and then talk about Shador?
No, I'm going to first talk about what just happened before he starts. Stacey's crazy. As if he's the only one that can talk about. Anyway, this boy who went in his father's iPad, it's outrageous. The father should be fired and the son should be expelled from whatever college he goes to. And as for whipping him, I think what he probably said is, come on, guys. You guys. That's all.
I don't know, Todd. His job ain't the most. Let's just say this: if we give up a lot of points next year, he may have been fired anyway. So he already on thin ice.
Okay,
Yeah. So the Eagles actually had a really good draft. I think Howie Roseman actually had 10 picks, and then I think they end up with 12 picks next year. If you think about some of the compository picks that they're getting, with everyone's talking about the Super Bowl hangover and how you lose a lot of guys from free agency. Well, those turn into compensatory picks for next year's draft. So you actually get extra picks by having guys leaving free agency, depending on what kind of deals they get, kind of playing time. So, but that being said, I think this draft, they did pretty good. They went linebacker heavy in this draft. They got the boy from Alabama, Campbell, who was actually projected to be a sneakily good potential top 10 pick. So he got a guy from Alabama, and if you remember, they let Gardner Johnson go in the offseason, the safety. So they got another safety out of Texas, Maduka, which he He's actually, I mean, there's questions about his tackling ability, but he's still a heavy hitter, and he doesn't come with the kind of the crazy baggage Gardner Johnson came with. Even though, I appreciate him from an emotional standpoint, but again, he got kicked out of that Commanders game because of his passion. So that's one of the things you got to look at too. But all in all, great draft. Again, they didn't move around and trade up and give up a lot of compensation. They got filler players. They got players that can come in, compete. They got rookie guys that can come in, not only compete, but also, fill in some of the gaps and also take some time to, be on special teams, move up the roster. So you couldn't have a better draft for a Super Bowl team picking at 32. So I
Now
think,
they also got some Georgia Bulldogs. I was glad to see that for some defense.
Yeah, they did get that linebacker. They did get
Like
another
y'all
linebacker.
always do.
Right, and so the Georgia, the Falcons finally got hip to that. When they skipped on Carter, now they went and got a couple of Bulldogs. They got a DN. So to Nas's point, I think they got to do something on the defense. Their defense was so atrocious that they had to do something. So this is a good way to start. Now I will say this about the whole Shedeur Sanders prank call. I actually agree with Todd on this. I think the coach should actually be fired. I mean, I get it. It wasn't him that did it, but just think if this was a top secret job, if you're in a military and you allow someone to get into your iPad and those are things my kids can't get on my work computer and do all that stuff. Granted, I get it. He's stuck behind his back or whatever, but you got to have that stuff locked down. And if you're that irresponsible with that number and you're embarrassed, because this is an embarrassment to the Falcons organization. Again, you're talking about a billionaire owner. You're already on thin ice because the franchise hasn't won a playoff game since they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, right?
Hey, man.
So now you're going to come in there, you're going to get embarrassed.
Let's stick to the topic.
No.
So okay, so the bottom line of it is, I think it's more than a slap on the wrist. You should be fired. I mean, think about it. If you left some PI, it does make sense. Because at the end of the day, it's called personal information. If you go to any company and they give you training on personal information training, and if you release that or are not a good steward of that, the discipline for that is termination. Go to any company. All right. So it's not just we're just making a political issue out of this. That's how it is in corporate America. If you don't keep secrets or keep personal information private, you are subject to being fired. Point blank.
Aguna,
his son was going to do that.
Still not off the table. That's still not off the table. That man has to run a political masterpiece at the facility. He got to be nice to the secretaries. He got to be as well liked as possible right now around that building. Because that's still
that's just corporate America. I'm just talking about corporate America. We're talking about $1 billion franchise where you have brand management and all this other stuff. You just prank call Shedeur Sanders, and you know what Deion's going to do. Deion's going to run this thing. Come on. They rather get rid of him for the headache to go away. And it's not like he's a good coach anyway.
So
I wouldn't bet on him firing him. I wouldn't bet on it.
Steven, go ahead. Talk about the Shedeur going not the first round, not the second round, and not the third round. Talk about Shedeur Sanders and how he was drafted, Steven.
Well, it was, I'm a Deion fan, and it was the best thing that could happen to him because he's way too cocky, and his daddy was telling everybody that, you better do right by my son. I'm going to come in there and I'm going to shake the organization up. You can't have that in the NFL. You can't have it's just too much. It's too much headache. It's too much drama. Because it's too much headache and it's too much drama. That you have a coach, you have a ownership, you have a whole team there. You don't need some outside father coming like it's his child in a junior league somewhere with kids playing and have him father come in. You better make sure my kid gets more catches. You better make sure my kid gets more pay, gets more money. But you don't need that. And that turns everybody off. Plus, he's not that good. He's not he's not a good scrambler. He's not a good scrambler. He was supposed to go in the first round, but he's not
He's not very big. He's not super athletic.
Right. That's right. So he's not that. He's got a lot to prove. What he has is a great mouth. He inherited that from his father, but maybe not a lot of other things. But he did get a great mouth from his dad.
Now, no one's saying he can't play football.
He can. He can. I hope he does well.
There's a difference between someone who can play football, talented, and someone who's not.
He's talented.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It humbled him. This humbles him, and this is what he needed. He needed to be humbled.
Why do you think he needed to be humbled?
Because he was cocky, way too cocky.
Just a minute.
He was born in the lap of luxury, man.
Let Todd finish.
All right.
Stay out of his pocket, Steven. Stay out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Sound like a liberal.
Let him finish.
You sound like a liberal. Worried about his money and his luxury.
I'm not worried about his money. I'm saying that's the
you
condition
brought it
he's
up.
in.
You brought it
that's
up.
his condition that he's in. He's
Go
ahead, cousin Todd.
Yay. Okay. His father said he was going to shake things up. That's all he said he was going to do. Just like Donald Trump. Now you don't have any problem with Donald Trump.
Let's stay on sports, Todd.
You have no problem
just for a little while. Just for a couple more minutes. Let's stay on sports,
with Donald Trump shaking things up.
Ah.
This boy is going to shake
that
things
man
up.
lives in your head, Todd.
Football compared to shaking the world up. You're crazy.
Well, hold on. So, Todd, here's my thing.
It's like Bernie Sanders.
I mean, no, it's like, why say anything? Why say anything? So, I disagree with Stephen. It shouldn't be about ego. I think it's purely about talent. And you're talking about a first round. You're saying if this guy is supposed to go in the first round, you're saying he can start day one for any and be a franchise guy. Now, that being said, a lot of first round, like Jamarcus Russell and a lot of these guys come in there and have a first round prospect and still come out bust. But the thing about Shedeur, which I agree with Stephen in the sense of I don't think he's that good. I think he went in the round he should have went in purely because, and I may be selfish here, but I've seen him play against South Carolina State in the Celebration Bowl, right? And you put if he's a first round pick and he couldn't beat the boys from Orangeburg, South Carolina. If you don't know where Orangeburg, South Carolina is, there's a reason for that. But Shedeur Sanders played against that secondary. He played against that secondary.
Is Orangeburg.
Orangeburg. But that's the thing. He went in the 5th round. So what does this do? Okay, so that means he'll probably sign a 1 or 2 year deal. He may not make the roster. They got 4 quarterbacks on the roster, including Watson, Deshaun Watson. So I mean, he may get cut. And if he
never play for them again. Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. In the first round, you said he's supposed to go in the first round.
Okay.
Right. So he should beat him out of camp. My point is this, Stacey.
One at a time.
He should start.
He should start.
If he's that good, even though he's got in the 5th round, he should beat every quarterback on that roster. He should beat out Flacco. He should win the starting job outright. And then, they got a 2 year deal, right? So he can renegotiate after next year and get a max extension contract. It's a prove it. Because he went in the 5th round, he has to prove it. Because he didn't go to the combine. He had a pro day, which was like in an insulated environment. They didn't go through the normal draft process, which is fine. But at the end of the day, that's what they chose to do.
But it turns people off. It turns people
off. Hold on, Stephen. Let me really get to the major point of all of this. Deion flubbed the draft process.
Exactly.
He got bad information about what Shedeur's grade was. So them not doing the interviews and not doing the combine, that meant some people didn't keep him on their board. So he dropped further than he should have dropped. Should he have been drafted in possibly the 3rd? Yes, he does have that kind of talent.
But do you believe he should start? He should start in Cleveland, right?
Just hold on. Let me finish.
But should he start?
Hey, man, shut up. Shit. He's a pocket quarterback. Dude, shut the fuck up.
Wow. Wow. You got a lot of anger, man.
Reverend Doctor, come on. We don't want to use
Reverend, we don't use that kind of language.
We got a lot of anger.
What's wrong with this?
Wow, look at you. Look at you.
Is that
Yeah,
as
okay.
typical of a
So
reverend? And he
anyway,
calls himself reverend? Gee.
hallelujah. Anyway, finishing up the damn point that I really was trying to get across. This was mostly about
This is
Shador's inability
sports.
to be
We're
athletic
talking
and
about
to be a
sports, man.
game-changing player. He's a regular drop back passer. Now, because of that, he's going to have to be really good at
Todd, I'm
processing and
getting
getting the
bored.
ball out. What was his biggest weakness at Colorado? Holding on to the ball and taking sacks. So that's why you saw him
Right.
drop the way you did. Now, this
Right.
thing gets interesting once you get to the point of asking, should he start in Cleveland? No, Joe Flacco is there. Now, when Joe
Right.
Flacco throws 3 pick sixes in a row, like we know he will, eventually Shador will get a shot because Cleveland is rebuilding. Deshaun Watson is never going to play for them again. They've already paid out over $200 million to him. So this is a rebuild. But some of the stuff we're seeing online where people are saying it's racism and other things, like, nah, man, Shador is just not that good. But
Right.
this factor does play in. These people who are calling him an egomaniac and stuff, dude, you know how much of an ego you have to make it to the NFL? That's part of
Pretty
the
much.
package. But this is not a street kid. This is a church boy. Go watch his videos online. All you're going to hear is him talking about Jesus, quoting the Bible, scripture, and all that. Dion raised them a certain way, and that is an entitled church kid,
Did you
not an
hear that,
entitled
Steve?
street kid. So people got it wrong on him. But I in there, sorry for cursing. As a reverend, I shouldn't do that. I'll usually save that for Thursday.
So let me say, Shador Sanders, I think he's a good player. His brother Shiloh, good player. You know, they grew up football family. They're going to be good. However, I don't think he should have gone the 5th round with his teammate Travis Hunter, Heisman Trophy winner, went 1st round. For him to go to the 5th round, I think that sent a message to him and his family that they kind of overstepped their football boundaries. I don't think it was a conspiracy because I think that everybody would have been talking about it. You know, they can't keep that type of secret. You know, the NFL wouldn't have been able to keep the secret if it was a conspiracy. I don't think it was a conspiracy. I think NFL teams do not want father coaches or father figures of players that want to control their sons while they're playing the game. For instance, remember
RG3.
RG3, not just him, from Philadelphia, was it Deshaun? Who we interviewed that one time from Pittsburgh. What's his name? Laguna. You know who I'm talking
His
about.
name is Jackson or
Yeah,
Johnson.
Deshaun Jackson. Thank you, Todd. I can't believe Laguna didn't get that. Todd got it. Deshaun Jackson. His
Well, you
father
people don't
was
know
very,
anything.
very instrumental in his growth and development and as a player. And the coaches in Philadelphia did not want to deal with his father when he came. A lot of coaches don't want to deal with fathers like that. You know, especially primetime Dion. They really don't want to deal with him.
Yeah, but Stacey,
That's what I was saying. We
don't give
agree,
him that.
Stacey.
Don't give him that out though, because that's based on talent. If Shador was as talented as Cam Ward, then they would have dealt with Dion. They would have just grinned and bared it because the talent would have, pushed that. Hey, it doesn't matter. That's just a headache you got to deal with. When did NFL coaches become so sensitive and scary that they're scared of a coach in Colorado? Like Dion ain't Nick Saban.
Yeah,
Like you gotta be scared of Dion.
because Dion don't even call any plays. We know that. But
Exactly.
it's not that they're scared of him. He has a big social media following, and people, social media followings say a lot. And now
Well, let
they're
me.
not everything, but they can sway some things left and right.
Okay. Well, how about this? Aguna.
But at the end of the day, he's not that good.
I can't believe Aguna. Wait a minute.
What, Todd? What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. You would normally say he is a distraction, and that's why he wasn't picked. Like you said about other players, or at least one other player, but you didn't say that about him.
You know about Michael Sam that wrote a book? He wrote a book and went on Oprah. He didn't go on Oprah. All right.
So anyway,
and Stacey, to that point, I'm just going to say, I mean, he went in the 5th round. You're talking about 257 players, right? are lucky enough to get drafted, period. So we're not even going in the 5th round. I know it doesn't match the brand of Deion Sanders, but he's still, I mean, you're still talking about a significant accomplishment in the grand scheme of things. It just doesn't match the
Right.
brand because you're going in a lower round. But I mean, to get drafted, period, is a big deal.
It's a big deal. But
Now-
I
now-
think it
now let me say
partly
this.
was about a distraction.
Todd doesn't even know
But-
what he's talking about, but Deion's son Shador and Shyla are really going to be living paycheck to paycheck. They, their actions caused them to lose $30 to $50 million in a
What? Oh my
Well,
God. Okay.
hold on, Stacey. The 30 million was never on the table. This is the other part that people aren't talking about. We have a mock draft industry now. So where every year they come up with these mocks and they tell us who's in the top 5. And early on, Quentin Ewers from Texas and Shador were in the top 5 in everybody's mocks. But by the time we rolled around draft time, guess what? Those mocks aren't made by teams. So that was inaccurate information. Ewers was drafted in the 7th and Shador was drafted in the 5th. So that should let you know where we are. So the 30 million was never on the table. What he did lose was NIL money. Because if he went back to Colorado, he probably would have made $8 million this year.
Right.
So we have a comment from a viewer that says someone needs to call in a wellness check on Keith. He's about to pass out. That's You Gotta Love YouTube.
No, he's just going to get an undershirt. He's so used to wearing polos with no undershirt. Finally, he's going to put on a white T-shirt today.
And then somebody wants us to look at some other thing that I don't know who it is, but we're not gonna.
Stacey, he's in Cleveland, and Cleveland is a horrible place to go. And Flacco, we're talking about Flacco. What is he? 49 years old? 50? Why would they start
Something like
Flacco? I say just start him. They got nothing to lose. Go for broke. Cleveland really did get a deal with him in the 5th round. They got a deal because he's not that great, but he's not that bad. And if he can get work in the system and like I said when I was talking earlier, this is going to be huge motivation for him. Like Tom Brady went in the 6th round, and look what happened to him. This could be the best thing that ever happened to him because it humbles him. He can get in there. He can do the work that he hasn't done before because he's got more talent. I know he has more talent in him than he has shown everybody because he probably goes by it lazily because he's so natural from his dad. He's really got to put in the work.
Here we go with the dog whistles. First we get the humble, then we get the lazy.
Yeah.
No, this is a hard-working kid. He's not athletically gifted. So there's never been a question about him being lazy. That's never been in play.
I'm saying that this could motivate him going in the 5th round to even work harder than he does. Maybe he works 8 hours a day. Maybe he'll work 10 hours a day. This is going to be something that's going to motivate him to be better.
Around. He should follow Joe Flacco around for the first couple of weeks he's there. Learn as much as he can from Joe. And why is Joe going to start over him? Because Joe's been in the league for 15 years and he knows a lot of things about coverages that Shador's going to have to learn. So, yeah, he's going to start.
Learn. He's starting from the ground. He's starting from the bottom. So Flacco is 40 years old. He was born in 1985. So he is 40.
Lord.
But let me
The rest of his draft class are on TV. Matt Ryan is doing TV, and this dude is still playing. It's ridiculous.
Right. Flacco is a grandfather, for God's sakes.
So let me go
Well,
back.
why didn't you say that about Tom Brady? He was a great grandmother.
He was a great grandfather.
So let me go back to finish my point. Thank you. Can I finish my point? I also want to talk about the Eagles went to the White House yesterday, and some people didn't go. Like
just one
quarterback, Jalen Hurts. He was at a concert with his wife.
2 people didn't go. What do you mean 1?
I said
2 people.
No, I'm talking about.
No, I didn't hear about 2 people. I just heard about the quarterback, and he had a previous. Hey, happy wife, happy life, right, Keith?
Yep, you got.
All right, so Aguna and the good doctor. Do you want to talk about the Eagles showing up at the White House and how another player in particular, a running back, was all in Trump's face.
Yeah, because he got this white wife that loves Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Who used the N-word before.
And for the record, Jalen Hurts has been to the White House before. He went with Alabama when they won, so that when Trump was in office. So There's that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, come on. Okay, this is the Eagles. It's a free country. Some can go, some don't want to go. That's fine. All right, it happens. The great thing about it is the fact that the world champions, Philadelphia Eagles, were invited, and the majority of the team showed up. So there you go. I mean, I think it's a great.
I don't think
It's
the
always
majority of the team showed up.
Not the majority, bro.
When they
did
showed
y'all watch
the
it?
team, excuse me, I saw it. And when they showed the team standing
I saw
behind the
clips.
president, it was mainly coaching staff. There weren't
And
many.
O-line. Good old O-line.
I don't even know about that.
But it was a lot of fun.
And Dom was there, and the president invited Dom to speak.
Yeah.
It was a
that's how
it was a
bottom
lot
of
of
the
fun.
barrel
Wasn't
is.
that fun, Stacy? Wasn't it fun
Yeah.
the time that they had
that's
out there?
That's how bottom of the barrel the situation was. You got the equipment manager, security guy speaking instead of a major star. But when it comes down to it,
I know you wouldn't care.
Hold on.
Have never been to the play.
Aguna, hold on.
Haven't been invited, so
hold on, Aguna.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna break down something for people that's very important. Everybody can't miss an appointment like that. Jalen Hurts has the ability to make that choice. If you're a backup wide receiver or a depth linebacker or running back or something like that, you have to go. Like there's no question
Jalen
you're
Carter
going.
didn't go.
But Jalen Carter is a star defensive player. Yes, he has the ability to make that choice. So don't put too much pressure on the guys who did show up or the guys who didn't go, because you got to remember that part. Not everybody can make that choice when you're on a roster and it's really thin about whether you go stay.
I mean, Saquon went. He didn't have to go. He could have made that choice.
Oh,
but he played golf. He played golf with Trump as well. Saquon Barkley played golf with Trump, so he had a great time. It's just what's wrong with people, You're invited, have a good time, and it was
everybody don't like y'all. How come you ain't figured that out yet? Everybody don't like y'all.
Why didn't Saquon ask President Trump to return the African artifacts back to the African American Museum of the?
You mean Saquon Sucker Barkley? No, he ain't gonna do nothing like that. Come on now.
No.
He's a football player. That's it.
Why? I don't know who made him the ambassador. Who made him the ambassador to do that? No, I mean, all black people have to promote black issues at all costs at all times.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
African.
I didn't get the memo there, but now that I know, thank you.
You got it now, don't you?
All right. I got my marching orders, Todd. Thank you. On behalf of all African Americans, I got my assignment.
Shuffling Saquon.
Shuffling Saquon, and he married a white girl, and she used the N-word twice.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Sucker Saquon. That's how it goes.
So, okay. So two things. You gotta love YouTube said neither. I don't know who he was talking about or she was talking about. And a friend of mine texted me that about Saquon. I didn't make that up on my own. My friend Wayne texted me and said Saquon didn't ask the president about those African artifacts that he took out of the African American.
So what are you talking about, Stacy? He's got some African artifacts.
Look at the sensitive man.
I don't understand what she's talking about. I haven't heard about that. Do you know about it?
I'll elaborate.
I don't know about it.
Remember that Aunt Jemima pancake mix that you had for
yeah, you want me to go get it? It's right here. I can go get it.
No, Trump took it. Trump took it from the African American Museum. Trump took it from the African American Museum. He told them, you gave it to Trump. Trump took it, and they want it back.
They want it.
I got it, and they should give it back. I agree.
How many years ago was that? You still got the same box of mix? What type of nasty cabinet you got around me?
I got some Uncle Ben's rice too. I'll save it for you. What are you calling yourself now?
All right, so
just let it go. No,
you gotta love YouTube said that's a typo, Stacy. So I want to share with you. We're gonna do. Let me get out of this. So our show, Sporlitiks, is going to do a cooking segment at some point, and we're going to share on social media us cooking. Please make sure you're on mute if you're in a car driving, Aguna. We're going to make sure.
My bad.
You tacky thing.
I was on mute.
So
Everyone's going to cook their specialty. Like Aguna's going to cook out on the grill and show us his specialty. And I have a few specialties that I've already taped. I went over to Todd's house and taped them. And Todd taped a few specialties. So let's look at real quickly Todd's specialty.
Where's Todd?
Oh,
Looks like
I
a
think
hearty
this is
drink.
the wrong clip. You didn't chop mine up.
Looks
So
like
let
a
me start
healthy
it from the
drink.
beginning.
Oh, I can't. I
Todd,
can't.
that
This is
looks like a healthy
deliberate.
drink. Very good, Todd.
You might want to
Healthy.
zoom in.
I can't, Todd.
Okay.
A little bit of lime. Oh, that's good. Yeah, simply.
Okay, can you
Simply
stop
lemonade.
talking through it, Keith?
Oh, okay.
I thought his specialty was honey buns.
Pink lemonade. Sure. Make me thirsty. With a
Now,
touch
after the
of lime.
camera's off, that's when he pours the Grey Goose in there.
Oh, talking about Grey Goose.
Hey,
That's my famous sangria. I didn't show the whole recipe, but I will on social media after I cut it up. But I went to Todd's house and we did a few takes.
That's nice, Todd. You got a nice place.
Oh, thanks.
So look forward to seeing myself, Todd, Stephen, Aguna, Reverend
Aguna
Doc,
don't know nothing about that grill.
anybody who wants to share their cooking specialty. We will be sharing it on our social media sites, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, X, Stephanie Stallworth, the Flow Television Network. Look forward soon to seeing us give you some of our specialties, because we all eat and drink. So we're going to share with you some of the things we do. Let's move on to politics. Let me share my screen. There we go.
Adding to its initial recall on its Soothe and Chew teething stick products over choking hazard concerns. The strawberry, apple, and banana flavors are part of this recall. The first recall was actually issued at the end of...
That's not what I wanted. Oh, no, that's supposed to be, sorry, let me stop sharing. So just a minute. Let me stop sharing and get exactly, let's go to this one instead. I'll share this instead until I queue up that one.
Bond after she was arrested Friday by the FBI. Federal authorities say that the judge interfered with the arrest of an undocumented immigrant. This is the latest in a series of recent confrontations between the Trump administration and the judiciary over immigration. NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist is with us this morning in Studio 1A with more. Aaron, good morning.
Hey, Peter, good morning. FBI agents grabbed that Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan in the courthouse parking lot early Friday morning. That's according to a senior law enforcement official. Now, Dugan faces 2 federal criminal charges here: impeding a U.S. government proceeding and concealing an individual to prevent discovery and arrest. The FBI director, Kash Patel, said in a post on X that's now been deleted that Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents when that defendant, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, was in Dugan's courtroom. He was there on local domestic abuse charges, Peter.
And Aaron, so what exactly is the judge being accused of here? Detail what this accusation is.
Well, Peter, court documents say that Dugan confronted arresting agents in the hallway before she directed Flores Ruiz and his lawyer through a non-public door in the courtroom there. And now the documents say that Flores Ruiz was removed from the U.S. in 2013, and he had a deportation order against him again. Now, agents ultimately arrested him outside the courthouse on Friday. This is another salvo in the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration and that fight it's been having with the judiciary. The White House, we know, has threatened to take legal action against local officials, state officials, anybody who sort of gets in the way of their deportation efforts. Judge Dugan has a federal court appearance on May 15th. Her team says that she plans to defend herself vigorously, Peter, and she looks forward to being exonerated. Peter, Laura?
The latest confrontation between the courts and the executive branch. Aaron Gilchrist, thank
you. Okay. Who wants to start with the judge arrested? Let's start with Aguna. Oh, Keith wants to start. Let's let Keith start. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I just noticed that reporter, that idiot reporter. I can see why Trump is so hard on the media. The guy had that nerve to ask exactly what was she, accused of. Well, it's
he
obvious.
wasn't supposed to ask what was she accused of.
Well, that was obvious. What she was
What
accused
was obvious?
of, obviously. The guy,
What?
she
Oh
let the
God.
guy out. She helped an illegal alien. That is in violation of the law. Any normal citizen would end up going to prison or going to jail for I think it's 3 years or something like that. But it's in the statute. You go to jail if you are harboring or helping an illegal alien criminal. Okay, you can go to jail. So I hope that judge end up going to jail, number one. So there you are, and that is my basic comment. Oh, also, didn't
Thank
I
you for your
hear
commentary.
Stephen?
Can we move
Stephen's
on?
probably the only one honest enough to answer this. But didn't I hear, Stephen, the Democrats say that no one is above the law? Someone said that, Stephen.
That's
Yeah.
right. No one is above the law, not even a
Oh,
judge,
yeah.
Keith. You're exactly right.
Latifah J.
If
Okay,
she broke
can
the
we
law,
can
she
we get back
broke
to the
the
panel
law.
and the topics?
It's
Can we get
called
back to the panel?
obstruction of justice. That's what she did. She needs to go to jail for a long time.
That's right.
Did Stacey pass the mic to Stephen? Because I didn't hear that.
Maybe she's
Stephen can
she's
go
hot
since
for the
he
guy.
started
Maybe
talking.
she's
Go ahead, Stephen. Let's
maybe
let him.
she's hot for him, Stephen. She must have the hots for the guy. Maybe
Go
they
ahead,
had
Stephen.
I don't know what it is. Yes, Stacy. Oh, yeah. This is really easy for anybody who's not biased or just doesn't, somebody doesn't hate Trump or the administration. This is ridiculous. We want these bad people out of this country. That's because we're the good people. The good people want the bad people out of this country. The bad people that are already in this country want those people to stay here. And eventually, if we can stay in power long enough, those people who want the bad people to stay here, they will go along with them. They will be deported because they hate this country, Todd. They hate this country, Todd. So you get to go where these other people go because you don't belong here. This is a country that's good, that's so great for everybody, but all you do is run it down because you hate Trump for some
Now it's just running
ungodly
off at the
reason. You
mouth.
hate Trump.
You were
Anybody
given a
on this show
topic.
that just hates
You
Trump
were given a
and
topic.
anything he does, he tries to get
You were given a
murderers,
topic,
rapists, child rapists, people like Nas out of this country. Because he does that, you hate him for doing that. Because you
Will y'all stop
are
me for a
evil.
curse?
Because
Y'all gonna
you
let this
probably
dude do
rape
this?
children.
Stacey, what are we
Nas,
doing?
Todd, y'all,
Listen to this
because
shit.
you want to keep child
Stacey, what are you
rapists
doing?
here in this country.
Listen to this.
All right, wait a minute.
This
Okay.
dude is accusing people of that, and you just letting it ride?
Okay, Stephen.
Yeah. Well, he told me to shut the fuck up, so I'm
Shut
getting
up,
his
monkey.
ass back.
Shut up, monkey.
Shut up, asshole.
Okay, we're not going to have this language. That's first.
Well, he started it. He started it. He started it. Yeah, if
so
you wait a
ugly.
minute, Stacey, my point is
Dude,
correct.
your
If
turn-
you
your
want to
turn is
keep
done.
these horrible people
We wanna
here,
hear other
these
people talk,
people
man.
that are in
Nobody wanna
gangs,
hear this.
if you want to keep them here, you're just as bad as they are, and you should be deported right along with them. You are bad people. You are a bad person that you want these people to stay in. That judge should go to jail for 25 years.
Okay, thank you.
I'm serious, Stacey. You love this country.
Okay, thank you. You got to stop.
Now,
let's talk about the
Man.
judge and what happened specifically. Aguna, did you want to talk about that? Aguna's gone. I wonder what happened to Aguna. All right. It's Cousin Todd or Reverend Doctor. You want to talk? Oh, here's Aguna. Aguna, do you want to talk about the judge, Hannah Dugan, who today actually, Wisconsin Supreme Court. Let me share my screen. The Wisconsin Supreme Court. This is CNN.com. Ruled today. Let me move it up. The Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that a Milwaukee judge accused of obstructing immigration officials would be temporarily prohibited from exercising the powers of a circuit court judge while the case moves through the legal system. She was arrested last week, Hannah Dugan, at the Milwaukee County Courthouse and faces 2 federal charges for obstruction and concealing an individual from arrest. She made her first appearance Friday morning and was released on her own recognizance. It is in the public interest that she be temporarily relieved of her official duties, the 2-page order states, noting that the state's Supreme Court took up the matter itself in order to uphold the public's confidence. Okay, Aguna.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of overreach of government, right? So when you have situations like this where right, wrong, or indifferent, you got to go through the due process. Not to say that, you hear all this emotion and nonsense on this show about evil and bad people and all this. This is how democracies fall when you start getting so emotionally wrapped up in just nonsense and rhetoric that you can't just sit back and say, you know what, okay, look, we have laws for a reason. Let the courts decide. Now, if people on this show want to sit here and talk about breaking the law, if you know any illegal immigrant and you're not turning them in to some type of gulag or whatever you guys want to do, people are going to start accusing you of breaking the law, you of being harboring or obstructing justice. It's a slippery slope when you give government too much power to come in and do that. So it's not about being evil or being all this. It's about let's rein in the control of government. Let's think about what overreach that government's going to have. And just because you agree with the administration that's in there now doesn't mean we don't need to, we the people, and that's including the people that did or didn't vote for Trump. It's America. There's a reason why we have a democracy. The reason why we have rules and law. So I just think, if the judge broke the law, yeah, she can be recused and then they do an investigation, but sending agents in there and you start arresting judges you start impeaching judges when you don't like what they're doing, you're going down a slippery slope. So
No, you're not.
I just think that, shut up, Stephen. I didn't interrupt you. I know you throw temper tantrums on here every show, but at the end of the day, it's about reigning in government.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Doctor?
Yeah, so the thing to understand is there's only 2 real dictatorships in America. That would be a cop on his beat and a judge in their courtroom. This was a pissing contest that got out of control. She moved the person to another area. She didn't stop them from apprehending him. He was picked up outside. When they go to court, and just listen to what I'm saying here, she's either going to get renovate the house money or boat money. She's going to win big when this actually is settled in court. And they overreached by doing this. And yeah, it's a bad look for her. It's a bad look for them. Cash Patel, this is his first big major event, and it's not going to go well. That's why you saw him deleting tweets, which would have helped her case, which is why he got that out of there. I'm sure his legal team advised him not to do that again. But yeah, she's going to make a lot of money off this case because she's going to win. This is government overreach.
A lot of money off the government.
That's an interesting take.
Your tax dollars. Your tax dollars at work. Your tax
Cousin
dollars at work.
Exactly.
Yep. She's a bad person.
Hopefully she's
And then
not
that guy's
fried
a
in
piece of
Washington.
garbage.
Shut up. It's time forward, man.
Can Stephen just get out of the first grade rhetoric? I mean, damn, it's like you're overwhelmed.
You don't think she's a
and you
piece of
can't have
garbage for what she did?
You don't
I
know
want you
her.
to expand your
You
vocabulary.
don't know her
I want you to expand
reputation,
your
her resume,
vocabulary.
anything.
For
You
the
don't
sake
know
of the show,
anything.
expand your vocabulary, Stephen. You sound like a first grader on here.
Okay. I wanted to talk about, first of all, the woman was doing her job. And if you didn't like what she did, that's fine. But to have the FBI arrest her out there, that was theatrics. Now, to get to Stephen's stupidity, and
Don't go to Steven's stupidity.
Oh, absolutely, I will. He
Oh,
said
please,
you
please
should
do.
be deported. I want you to hear this good because you disagree.
No, it's not you
That
disagree.
is beyond sick.
You
You
support
should be
terrorists. You
deported
support terrorists
because
that
you
hate this country.
disagree with the
Shut
That makes
up.
you a
president.
Shut
And
up.
so this is what he's saying. This is how sick Donald Trump supporters are. If you don't agree, then you're all because you're evil. You're evil, and you all should
evil.
be deported and go back to Mexico.
Go somewhere. You don't
And
like this
so-
country, get out.
No, if you don't,
You
like
get
it,
out.
you get out.
Every policy you have is anti-America. Every policy you support is
Shut up.
anti-America.
You don't
Get
know
the
anything.
hell out of my
You are a
country.
waste of time. This
You won't
ain't your
stop
country
talking.
anyway.
Get
Shut
the
up.
hell.
Finish your point, Todd. I got to move on. We're out of time.
How can you tell me to finish my point when you got this psychopath talking over me while you daydream? So-
It's Keith's country too.
So
Shut
anyway,
up.
these
Shut up.
can you mute him or get him off the show? These invaders, white people from third world countries that came over here from starving and invaded our country should go back to where they came from. That means Stephen has to go back to Ireland. Go back to where you came from before you invaded this country. If you are living in America and you are white, that means European, you are the invader. Go back to where you come from.
But Todd, that's contradictory to your argument because you believe that there's nobody is illegal in the first
I
place.
believe
How do you
that
do that?
Africans belong all over the world and whites belong in Europe. And
Todd,
you're
you
not
can't-
allowed to go with them, Coon.
But Todd, you can't serve two masters. You
Okay,
cannot
thank you.
serve two
I got to
masters.
move
You
on. We're
had
out of
to,
time.
or else you'd get whipped.
I have one master, that is Jesus Christ. But you have two
And
masters
the white
because
man.
you say the white man is the invader. Yet again, when other people come to this country illegally, that's okay.
That's
So,
okay. They're
you can't.
colored. They're
Yeah, but
colored. They belong
that's a
here.
contradiction.
No.
Aguna, isn't that
Whites
Aguna?
can't come here. Whites
That's
should get out of our country. We
Yeah,
want our
white
country
man,
back.
white man bad, black man good.
Aguna, help me out here. I mean,
We
So
you're a
want
so
our
logical
so
guy.
country
so
back.
so when y'all say
Aguna,
hyperbolic things and ridiculous things, that's just the normal state. So when Todd throws it right back at you, it becomes just as ridiculous. Then you try to take a serious tone. So Todd,
They,
listen to
they
what
become
he's
a
saying.
victim. They
Like,
become the victim.
No,
They're
we're
the
not. We're not
victims.
it's funny
victims. We don't
watching
have
you.
victim
I
You
status.
are a
I have
victim.
no
You're
Clown.
saying
victim
get out of
status.
my
You're a
country.
clown.
Like
Get
you
out of
own
my
Clown.
country
anything.
if you don't love it.
You
If you
don't
don't love
own
it, leave it.
anything, man.
If
It's not
you
your
don't love
country.
it,
Exactly.
leave
It's
it.
not your country,
Hate
Stephen.
your
I'm sorry to
nose,
tell you.
clown.
It's
Ireland
all
I'm
of our
sorry to tell
country.
you.
Why do y'all fight against it?
Ireland is your
Why do you
No,
fight
go
that,
against
back
your
you
own
to
don't.
Europe.
country?
You don't have the entitlement to say that, Stephen. I'm
No,
sorry. You
you have
You
to
lost
go
it.
fight
back to
against
the
your
You're
own
days of
country
irrelevant,
Europe.
with
man.
what
In
you
the in
put
You're
the
on this
irrelevant,
show.
in
Stephen.
the 1850s, you wouldn't
You
have been able to
fight
vote.
against your own country. You're fighting
What
to
are you
get people
talking?
back that are pieces
So
of garbage.
You didn't
You're
know
trying to help
anything.
people that
Stephen,
are helping garbage.
you're
Okay,
exposing.
stop.
You sound unintelligent, Stephen. We're
Okay,
trying
I
to help
mean,
you
you
here,
can tell me
but
I
you're
sound
embarrassing
unintelligent.
yourself.
okay, Aguna,
You're
stop.
No,
I
embarrassing
can
he's
tell
yourself.
dumb.
you.
You're
Aguna,
embarrassing.
I can
Aguna,
tell
stop.
He
you.
can't help it.
I can tell
Stop.
you
Please stop.
yourself. I
Please
can
He
stop.
say the
can't help
same.
it. Gordon.
I
Please
can say
stop.
the same.
Please
I can
stop.
say. I can say.
Stephen, shut up.
Okay,
Shut the fuck.
Stephen.
This
And
dude
now
is
he
having a
quit.
meltdown every show,
It's
Stacy.
your fault, Aguna.
Every
It's your
show.
fault. You get him
No,
going. Stop
It's
it.
I
your
don't
fault,
get him going. I
Stacey.
challenge him.
You
I
kept
just want
muting
him.
him.
He's an
You
adult,
kept
Stacey.
muting
Stop
him and
saying
kept
people
saying
Stacey,
get him
shit.
going. He's an adult. He can control
he,
himself if he chooses to.
Okay,
he
Aguna, please
he's
start.
allergic to
Start with
You
intelligence. It's not
can't
my fault.
argue with me. You
Okay,
Look, he's still
Aguna.
going.
Look at this
can't.
He's
moron.
still
Look
going.
Look at this
You
He's
can't
moron.
still going.
argue.
He's having a
Aguna, start with
meltdown.
the tariffs, please.
You're not smart
Yeah, let me
enough. You're
start.
not.
Okay, fine, Stephen. Okay, good.
Trump
Okay,
and the tariff.
take a deep
Trump
breath.
and the tariffs
Jesus.
and the CEOs, please. Aguna, Trump tariff CEOs, please.
Yeah, so this tariff. Okay. So where do I start? Again, I'm not
Start
a
with the
fan of
meeting at the
tariffs.
White House and make it quick.
Well, so Well, so real quick, so as we see, there's a lot of volatility with the tariffs. You can't have it both ways. If you want to bring manufacturing jobs back, you can't sit there and then negotiate, right? Because companies are going to pick up the phone like Target did, like Walmart did, and say, hey, look, you're impacting the shelves, you're impacting the bottom line. Hey, you need to walk these things back. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, if tariffs, you're either going to do it two ways. You're either going to use it as a negotiating tool, or if you put them permanently and you're trying to reshore, which a lot of some of the morons on this show, excuse me, but they wanted to reshore apparently all these manufacturing jobs, right? It's not going to happen. You either have it one way or another. You got to be very specific. Tariffs can be used in very specific market-driven ways, but these blanket tariffs, and I'll do just one example. For example, Jaguars. Jaguar cars is a British, manufactured in England. It's owned by India, built in China, right? So parts of it are built in China. So it's like, where are we going to put the tariffs? Put it on India? You're going to put it on China? You're going to put it on the UK, right? It's a global market now. So you can't sit there and do blanket tariffs, because what happens is not Democrat, it's not Republican. It's about corruption. What happens when you start doing country by country tariffs, you insert corruption, because now you're going to have companies like they did pick up the phone and start negotiating directly with the administration. And at the end of the day, we as Americans are not making any money off of tariffs. We're not making any money. All right.
Here we are.
Consumers benefit when tariffs aren't in place because prices are low. Tariffs, if you're trying to say tariffs are for manufacturing, go ask any Gen Z or Gen Y or any millennial if they want to work in a cotton manufacturing plant making tennis ball felt in South Carolina for the rest of their lives. None of them will want to do that. So all these magical manufacturing jobs that people keep on talking about are coming back to the US aren't going to happen because it's not cost effective.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
All right, let me play this, and then this is our roundtable. We're out of time. It'll be Keith, Steven.
Well, you could have gave me some time on tariff. That's all right.
That's what we're going. We're doing tariffs. We're still on tariffs. We're not leaving tariffs. Here we go.
Trade war confusion. China pushing back after President Trump indicated that the U.S. is negotiating with the world's other biggest economy.
We are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active.
Mr. President, has there been any direct contact between the U.S. and China on trade at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
every day.
Overnight, multiple Chinese officials denying that there have been trade negotiations between China and the U.S. Any claims about progress are unfounded. Another adding, quote, "If it's a fight, we will fight to the end. If it's a talk, our door is open." Trump has been softening his tone, but not the massive tariffs he's placed on Chinese imports that have largely fueled global economic anxiety.
We're dealing with a lot of countries right now, and could be with China, but maybe we'll make a special, a deal, and we'll see what it will be. Right now, it's 145%. That's very high.
While still down significantly from post-inauguration highs, the market's creeping up Wednesday, closing higher for a second straight day, with investors buoyed by the White House's optimism that a trade deal to lift the tariffs could be struck with China. The White House now facing both economic and political pressure over the Trump tariffs. At Southern California ports, the number of ships set to arrive with the imported goods from China in the first week of May now expected to be down 44% from last year. On Monday, the CEOs of Target, Walmart, and Home Depot personally lobbying the president on tariffs, reportedly warning about the possibility of product shortages or even empty shelves. While another business leader, GOP megadonor Ken Griffin, who has been critical of the trade war, speaking out yesterday.
The United States was more than just a nation. It's a brand. It was like an aspiration for most of the world. And we're eroding that brand right now.
That pressure is economic, it's political, it's also legal. The White House facing a new lawsuit yesterday filed by a coalition of a dozen states claiming that the tariffs are unconstitutional. The White House pushing back in those states of, quote, prioritizing a witch hunt against President Trump.
And Gary,
That's hilarious.
Adding
What happened to the show?
guidance for the administration on the economy specifically, a growing share of the population giving the president negative marks. There's a new Reuters Ipsos poll that found that just 37% of Americans approve of Trump's handling of the economy. That number is lower than at any point during his first term in that particular poll. And then nearly 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of the tariffs, specifically in a new Pew survey. The president has moved at a rapid clip to implement his agenda, but these are just more signs that the trade war may have begun to overshadow the rest of his policy priorities. Laura?
Thank
Okay, thank you. Keith, your comment.
Yes. You want me to comment? Well, obviously they're going to be spinning this, and everybody on the show, other than Stephen and myself, they're going to be spinning this as a negative. But it is a positive, and it's already taking effect. There are companies, and I've sent you a list of them. I've already sent it to you, Stacey. You know, at least admit that on the show, so you know, so that people will know. There are a list of whole companies, big corporations, big companies that are
Why did
reinvesting
Target and
back in the
Walmart
United
go
States,
to the
and
president
all
and
they
say,
have to
"Stop"?
do is take their tariffs. All they have, in order to avoid the tariffs, all they have to do is manufacture here and do business here
That's
in the
it.
country.
That's all they have to do.
That's all they
Yes,
have to
that's
do.
right.
Yes,
That's right. That's right.
they can get around the tariffs if they do that.
That's
And
right.
that's what Trump has said, and that's what the administration has
That's
said.
all they
So
have to
all this
do.
other
Make this
rhetoric
stuff here.
that Aguna talks and all these other guys are talking,
Give us an
it's
example,
just all
Keith.
rhetoric.
Give us an
No,
example.
we're going to let him in. Let him in his time. Don't extend his time.
No,
He says a
look,
big
I
list.
didn't.
Give me one.
First of all, I would give you an example, but I don't have it because I sent it to Stacy, and I didn't know that
So
he
you
was
didn't
going to
read
talk
it?
about
Send it
tariffs.
You didn't
back.
read it?
Send it back to him.
No, it wasn't in the. It wasn't. Look, these are big companies. I'm not going to try to name them all because
The biggest
Just name one.
the
I said
biggest
one.
companies, all of
Just
them.
name one. I can name one. I can name one if you can't,
Oh,
Keith.
man.
You want me to
it's
help you?
irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You know why it
Yeah, I
doesn't
thought it
matter
was
to
part of your
you?
point.
It
I thought it was
doesn't
part of
matter
your
to
No,
point.
it's
you.
not part of his point. It doesn't matter. There's a lot
It
of
does
companies coming
matter.
back.
One of
You
the
don't need to know
companies
the
was
name.
Johnson and
If you want to
Johnson.
know the names of them,
I'm
Google
trying to
it.
help you out. I know.
If you want to know
One
the
of them
names,
was
Google
Johnson
it.
and Johnson.
You're just jumping on his time. Let him talk.
No,
Aguna.
I'm not. No, I'm
Shut
not.
up,
He said
Aguna.
he
Shut up,
wanted to
Aguna.
prove.
This is a round
You just wanted
table.
to say
Shut
shut
up,
up. You just
Aguna.
wanted to shut
Aguna,
up.
shut up,
Johnson
dumbass.
and
Shut
Johnson.
up.
Johnson and Johnson was
This
one,
is his
right?
time.
And
This
Johnson
is
and
his
Johnson
time. Stacey, you got to
invested
cut him
$80
out,
million
man.
of
Stacey, you got to
research
cut him out.
dollars.
This is
I'm trying to help his point.
Okay, thank you.
This is his round table.
Shut up, Stephen.
Go ahead,
No,
Stephen.
you're not. You're just trying to be an ass, which you don't have
Johnson
to
and
try.
Johnson was
Aguna.
one, but again, they're an American company.
Go ahead, Stephen.
It doesn't matter. There's a lot of companies coming here from all over the world.
Name
They really
one.
are.
Why don't you name
I
one?
can't name any right now, but you can
know,
look.
because
I'll
you don't know
Google
what the
them,
hell you're
and then I'll
talking
send
about.
it to you.
You don't know what the hell.
I don't commit things to memory that doesn't matter to me. I have to keep my brain for memory for things I really need to know. I do not care what companies are. I do not care what companies come here, but it's
You're
trillions of
admitting to be
dollars
a
that they're
moron.
bringing
You're
to this
admitting to be a
country.
moron.
No. But
Okay.
no,
You're
I'm
admitting to
not.
be a
I
moron.
don't care. I don't
Thank
care
you.
what the names
Thank
are. I don't care.
Yeah, I
Look,
don't
and Aguna, you're wrong. It is
You
cost
sound-
effective. Aguna, it is cost effective, and to have these companies move here,
Prove it.
It doesn't mean that so many people in this country are going to work
No
at them. That we're not gonna, because a
no
lot of it's going to
company-
be automated. A
no
lot of it's going to be
company-
automated. So it does not. But we're going to have stuff that we have to make
No.
here, Aguna, because we can't have China making everything for us.
You can't
If we have to
name
go
one-
to war with China,
You can't
if we have to go
one
to war
company.
with China, Aguna,
Name one.
if we have to go to
Name
war
one
with
company.
China, they can't make 90%
Name
of our
one-
pharmaceutical medicines, right? Do you agree?
Why is
We
that?
have
Why
to
is
bring
that?
production back here, even if it's going to be automated. We need to bring the production here, and then it's going to be cost effective because they're not going to have tariffs on
That's
them.
not true.
Donald Trump said they're going to have very little taxes to pay if they bring their businesses here, Aguna. If they bring their businesses here, they have to pay. Look, if they go to
Stephen.
China or if they go to Mexico or Canada, then they have to pay a lot in tariffs. But if they come here and build their shit here, they don't have to pay any, Aguna. Do you understand me now? So stop lying. Stop doing whatever the
So he
Marxist
said-
crap that y'all do. We rejected you, and I will repeat that if you're going to be like that,
once
and if
you're
you're
done,
going to support Our
I
enemy.
will wait till
If
you're
you're
done
going to
that
support the
nonsense.
enemy of the United States,
It's
you're
not the
on notice,
enemy.
brother. You're on notice. You're
So
on notice,
he
brother.
said pharmaceuticals,
You're
right?
on notice.
So he
You're
said,
on notice. If
Stacey,
you're for foreign
He's going
terrorists,
back to
that
point,
makes you
let
a
me make
terrorist.
this. I'm not
Your
listening to this.
president said I was a
Finish.
terrorist because I'm a
Are you
white
finished?
man. Your president said I was a terrorist. If I don't support terrorism, if you support terrorists around this country or being evicted from this country and you support them, you are a terrorist and you need to go to prison. You better watch your ass, Todd. Keith, not Keith, but everybody else but Keith. Everybody should watch their ass because that's the truth. No.
Look at the show.
No, you don't. No, this is going to stop.
All blacks look alike to him.
Stacey, let me make this last point. Can I make a last point? All right, so this last point, he mentioned pharmaceuticals, right? He said pharmaceuticals are made in China. All right, and he said the reason how to lower prices of pharmaceuticals is to bring that back to America. Right? That's not the way you lower the cost of pharmaceuticals.
Prices. I said they could stop making our pharmaceuticals. We can't get them from China if we have a problem with them. It's not that we can get them cheaper or not. It's just we have to manufacture stuff in this country. You're not an independent thinker. So I'm not mad at you, Aguna. I'm not going to call you a moron or dumbass. I'm not going to say that. You're just not an independent thinker. All you do is spew the garbage that you take in.
Are you going to railroad the show? You're just going to railroad the show? We can't talk logical on the show? Is that all you're going to do is call names because you don't have any other intelligence? No, my point is this. The pharmaceutical companies in the world, 90% of their profits are made in the United States. And it's not because of manufacturing costs, it's because we don't cap the price of pharmaceuticals in this country. Every other country, they cap the prices. So when you hear morons like Steven come on the show talking about bring all these things back, if you look at markets by markets, there are certain reasons why things are costing the way they are in this country. And a tariff is not going to be the silver bullet to cause that. So he's bringing up all these things he knows nothing about. He mentions pharmaceuticals just so he can yell at the camera and be all emotional and throw a temper tantrum. If you want to have an intelligent conversation, which I know you don't like to have on this show, Stephen, you rather shout down opposition.
I am emotional. You're right, Aguna.
You can't engage.
I'm emotional.
Let's have a conversation. If you have a conversation,
everything you said is a lie. Everything you said is wrong.
See, you're going back to emotions.
Everything
I just
you
gave
said,
you statistics.
everything you said is wrong, and that's a fact.
You didn't name one fact. You didn't give one statistic. You didn't give one example. All you're doing is getting your beard all up in the camera so you can yell and turn red. You're not talking intelligently. Okay, so if you're going to be a first grader, be a first grader.
Everything I said.
You haven't given one fact. One fact. You haven't given one statistic because you can't. Because you don't know how to. You can't.
Let me get in, man. Let me get my little.
Go ahead. This is not even fair. This is not even a fair conversation, Stacey. He's overmatched on the show.
Pastor. Y'all are little boys. Y'all little boys.
So the latest thing to come out with the tariff situation is Amazon steps into the fray and basically threatened to have the prices of what the good would cost without tariffs and with tariffs next to it. The White House came out and denounced them for just, coming up with that idea. But you're going to see creative ways to where companies fight back against this administration because they know this is going to hurt their bottom line. Again, globalized market. This is not 1850. You can't just carve up territory and tell everybody else pay or else. They'll just close you out. And then the other part that we haven't even thought about, and I want y'all to really think about Christmas, you got to start thinking about sabotage. When you publicly embarrass other administrations across the globe, and let's just say in December, all of a sudden that ship doesn't come in that was supposed to come. That super carrier of goods doesn't roll in all of a sudden. Oh, sorry, we missed that one. And then another one doesn't come in. And guess what? You got empty shelves in Christmas. So you got to think about what this actually is doing. We're punching ourselves in the face and claiming we're winning the fight. The biggest problem with the Trump administration right now is last time he had some people around him who could kind of sway him on some issues. And I think this time he surrounded himself with yes men who have allowed this to go this far. This was always going to be a debilitating thing for our country. We lost 20% of cap from the stock market in 2 days. That money's gone. That's not coming back. So you can say,
Never
hey,
coming back.
Pastor
That money is
Rich,
not
they've been
gone.
doing
That
pretty
money's
good.
not gone. It's
No,
all
no,
on
no.
paper. It'll
It's
come
It's
even
back.
not.
lower than what
It's
it
not
is because
coming
that
back.
money's gone.
It's
And
gone.
if he continues with this, again, just think about what nations are going to collude together and try to not only sabotage us, but just from the idea of, okay, you punch me, I'm punching you. So,
Sam,
yeah, this was
okay.
always a bad idea. He should have been talked off it way before inauguration day. But since he didn't, we're all going to be stuck with the fallout. And again, I repeat, buy your seafood and other expensive items now, put them in the freezer because the prices are going up. That these are market forces. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Once you put something like this in play, you have to deal with the dominoes that fall. And out in there.
Okay, thank you. Cousin Todd.
Pure speculation.
Until it happens. And then,
Well, it hasn't happened yet, and it's pure speculation until it does.
well, I disagree with Nas that they're going to do this thing on Christmas. They're going to do it much sooner. The back to school clothes and books and that kind of a thing. That's when they're going to get you. And the shelves will be empty for the back to school shopping. I
Why?
don't think they're going to wait. And why? Because China's not sending you nothing.
We don't have Vietnam. We don't have other countries that can send us anything. We don't have India
No,
with 1.5 billion
no,
people.
no. You put tariffs on everybody. They ain't sending you
The
nothing.
other countries are going to work with him. That's what the whole thing is about.
They're
We don't
not
have
going
to
to
be
work with
China's little
them.
bitch. See, I'm not going to cuss
Okay.
anymore, Stacey.
So
We don't have to be China's
what did
bitch.
what did Walmart say to Trump? Hey, you can't do this. The shelves are going to be empty. What did Target say? They had a private meeting and they said, you're going to kill us.
But what they
Just
do is
like
they buy
DEI.
ahead of time, Todd, and then they make
And
deals with other
Steven,
countries.
you can't talk over him.
But
You
this
got
is an interesting conversation, though. What they
no.
do is
Don't talk over him.
they buy
Don't talk
ahead of
over him.
time.
It's Todd's turn. It's not your turn.
And
I know.
so they know what's going to happen. They're businessmen, not Trump, who's been bankrupt 6 times.
So have they.
They know. They have not. There's no other businessman in America that's been bankrupt 6 times. I'm moving on. So they know what's going to happen. So they had a private, quiet meeting and told Trump, we're going to go belly up. We're going to have to raise the prices. And so what's the guy's name? Bezos said, I'm going to write down how much it would cost and how much it's costing now. And of course, Trump went up in arms about that. But the bottom line is they're going to raise prices on you. And just like the DEI thing, and these stupid people tried to go along with it and then had to apologize, Target. Oh, please forgive us. We shouldn't have done that. Because they lost billions of dollars licking behind Trump. So it's not a good look. Don't lick behind Trump. Trump is dumb and has been bankrupt 6 times. Everything he touches fails. So here we are.
Okay. Thank you very much to our first responders in our communities. You make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do and sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose on the show. We are forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, who disappeared, the voice of reason, Keith, the constitutional conservative,
What
Stephen,
is that? Stephen's phone number?
the independent thinker, Reverend Dr. Pastor, thank you so much for joining us, and my cousin Todd.
You have that hat on, Stephen, and you are never Trumper. That's odd.
I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on Stephanie Stallworth, the Flow Television Network, Twitch, X. Check us out at Sporlitiks.com on TikTok. Check us out at Sporlitiks on YouTube. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. check us out on Sporlitiks on Instagram and Twitch. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Hey, Stacy. Hey, everybody. I got this. This is just a few, 5 of them, Todd. I wrote it down. I just looked it up. So anyway, I did look it up. It's Johnson & Johnson, Honda,
He already
Apple,
gave you Honda,
Hyundai,
Johnson &
and
Johnson.
IBM. IBM, Hyundai, Apple, Honda, and Johnson & Johnson. Those are just 5. There were many more, Stephen, but those are 5 that are moving back. They're moving, their production's back
They're
here.
coming back here.
Do you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Do you know? And I'm asking you, and just say yes if you know and no if you don't know. How many years it would take to build a facility in the United States to get started?
I think we have a lot of buildings that are already built that can be
That means yes or no. Do you know?
transgendered. I don't think it's going to take that long. Like, we have a lot of buildings because of our
Okay,
production
how long is it gonna
shipped
take,
over to
man?
other countries. We already have the buildings, and we have AI, and we have a lot of
in
stuff
other
now
words, you
that we didn't used
don't
to have.
know
We can
how
build
long
stuff
that
a
would
lot
take.
faster now.
You don't know
We
how
can build
many
stuff a
years
lot
that would
faster.
take.
The fact
Yeah,
that they're
so-
here, the fact that they're coming back is all that matters. Right, Stephen?
Right,
Yeah, so
right. And if they don't even
let us
have,
know
but
at the groundbreaking. Let us know when the groundbreaking happens. Now, Todd, the interesting thing about this is something like what we saw in the 90s. Anybody here who remembers Midwest Rust Belt, you remember the manufacturing and production was in the Midwest. All of a sudden, it got shipped overseas, right? Midwest was hollowed out and had serious financial issues for the next few
yeah, they
decades.
call it the Rust. They call it the Rust Belt.
Exactly. Now, what happened later? Well, later we got states in the South give sweetheart deals to companies to come and build here so that they can have production. So what you're talking about right now is going to be the negotiating tactic where these companies say, okay, we'll come in if you give us 20 years of tax benefits, if you pay for our facility. Matter of fact, Amazon tried to do that to New York. They wanted New York to pay for the facility. So this is a race to the bottom that you guys are encouraging, and I don't think you see it. Now, the reason why globalization happened and why it's so difficult to move manufacturing back over here, American workers are more expensive when you talk about wages and how much it costs. Now, that's a square you can't circle. I get where you guys are coming from.
I can tell you how. I can tell you how. Everything's everything's gonna be automated. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be people.
The market
It's not gonna be.
doesn't deal with your emotions. And another thing,
it's gonna be automated.
Hold on one second.
You don't have to pay anybody.
I've heard you, brother. I've heard you. We've really got to do something about like big tech guys getting at these conferences and telling us what AI and automation is going to do. They're talking their book. They're telling you all things are going to be automated because they've invested in it. So the same way that Musk promised we'd be in Mars in 2025, the same way that the tech companies promised that the taxi would be dead by Uber. And now Uber still hasn't made a profit after 15 years in existence because they were talking their book. And if you keep falling for it, these tech oligarchs will keep running your pockets and promising you that you'll be on Mars in a few months. Like,
I hope you're right, and I don't think we can ever go to Mars, Nas. I don't think we'll ever get to Mars. I think it's just a big smoke screen. I don't. Yeah, it's all speculation.
Who knows? Someday, but I'm just saying, man, you got to be careful.
I don't think so.
These tech guys. Well, it's just as speculative on the other side, where they're telling you every industry will be automated. Like, come on, man.
It can be. I've seen a lot of it. What's coming, and it could be. Everything could be automated. That's they're gonna have cars that can come to your house and pick you up and take you somewhere for $1. They're gonna have a lot of things that's automated.
Yeah, for $1. Yeah, you believe that?
Yeah, for $1 a mile. When you pay Uber $6 a mile, you're gonna have a car that's gonna be autonomous, and it's come to your house, and you get in and tell it where you want to go, or you write it in, and then they take you. It's $1 a mile. When the other one's $6. So they're starting that in Austin next year.
No, Stephen, that's the point I'm trying to make. They're talking their book, telling you it's going to be $1.
Oh, okay. I hope you're right. I hope you're right, guys.
When they monopolize the actual industry, at that point, that's when they hit you with the fees and the charges.
Right. Oh, yeah,
that's
okay.
a difficult thing we're going to do.
I don't want it. I don't want to get in an automatic car and have nobody drive it. I want to be able to drive my car.
You'll have to keep it around. So Stacy, let me ask you this. Would having an 80% automated workforce be a good idea for any country? How the hell do you square
No,
that?
no, it's not. But we don't have any choice.
Oh, we
If
do.
they don't have to
Yes,
feed
we
them
do.
or give them health insurance or have a place to live, if they don't have, if they don't have any of that cost, yes,
Good
sir.
night, Stacy.
Sounds like you're gonna
You
create
going,
shanty
King?
towns all over
Love you,
Yeah,
America.
got to
brother.
get going. Stephen,
Have
you're
a
a
great
good
night,
man. You
man.
hang in there. Hang in
You
there,
too,
Stephen.
brother.
Don't give way. Don't give in to these guys. You're doing
Don't
good.
Never,
All right.
man.
Good night, everyone. Good
Love
night.
you, brother.
Good night,
Peace
everyone.
and harmony, everybody.